You're watching Straight Line with Dan Rogers, President and CEO of Cherry Street Mission Ministries.
Welcome, and my name is Delray Bush. Something that we're going to talk about today that is extremely prevalent in our community is the hidden economy. Dan, I know you can relate to this in something we see all the time at Cherry Street Mission.
Yes. No question, mostly because the hidden economy is within impoverished neighborhoods and how impoverished neighborhoods feed homelessness and addiction and incarceration. The reason why we refer to it as the hidden economy is because well, the economy we all know about is unhidden, right? It's jobs, it's taxes, it's how we retail, it's mortgages, it's how economies of scale move in all communities. If you use two different words, though, it would sound like this: the legitimate economy and the illegitimate economy. So our topic today is really going to be talking about the illegitimate economy. The point of today's show, and why our viewers are going to be excited about hearing what we have to say, as well as our guest Kenny Presnell, is to uncover and peel back the reasons why pouring money into impoverished neighborhoods or pouring money into areas of addiction and homelessness is not going to work all by itself. Certainly money is important, but money is not going to solve our problems because of the money that flows within community. So I went out and found Kenny Presnell. Kenny I've known for a long time. You'll see him in video today. He is someone that I saw as a resident and guest of Cherry Street 13 years ago. And Kenny is now graduated from our Ready for Life program in one of our transitional supported houses and doing quite well. Kenny and I went up to a rooftop and we got to talking about the hidden economy. Why don't you take a look at our conversation? You know, Kenny, you and I go way back.
Right.
Right?
Yes, sir. Right.
I mean, some 13 years now, right?
At least.
Yeah, and over our relationship, you've been in and out of homelessness and in and out of drugs. And on more than one occasion, because we live in the same neighborhood, work in the same neighborhood, right? Shop in the same neighborhood.
Right.
Right, so I see you as a neighbor, really, in so many cases, right?
Yes, sir.
And so many times, man, you know, I see you on the street and I try to wave you down and say, hey, Kenny, you know, but you are focused, right?
Exactly.
You are what we call on a mission.
Exactly.
Right? Now, listen, a lot of our viewers wouldn't even know what that means because they're thinking you're on a mission trip.
Well,
but that's not true. Tell our listening audience today, you know, Kenny, what does it mean when you're hooked on drugs? What does it mean to be on a mission?
well, basically, let's put it this way. It's not a mission of mercy. I'm more on a drug run. I'm trying to get my fix in for the day.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
You're trying to get your fix in for the day.
Right.
Right. One of the reasons why I'm bringing that up, Kenny, is because, you know, the neighborhoods that you and I live in and work in, most people in our community would identify them as poverty neighborhoods or an impoverished neighborhood.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
But in fact, Kenny, I think a lot of people would be surprised by how much money actually is inside of a neighborhood that the rest of us would consider as a neighborhood that is in poverty.
Well, it's hard to put a dollar amount on it, but I'll put it this way: it's a lot of money flowing.
Yeah.
The drug dealers, they're not out there to make friends. They're out there to make money. So
Exactly.
that tells you some money is being moved.
That's right.
Exactly. So it's a business. I
It
mean,
is.
you know, it's illegal, but it's a business.
Yeah, and that's really the point, isn't it, Kenny? I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that run in central city streets or in impoverished streets all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But the reason why we don't count it in our community is because it's not legitimate,
Exactly.
right? It's illegitimate money,
Exactly.
right? That's called a hidden economy,
True.
right?
True. And like I said, it's like a business. I mean, if you go to a store or a company or a business and you feel that they're not treating you right, you're not going to spend your money there.
Right.
And I didn't realize it at the time. When I was out there, I had somewhat of that attitude. If I went to cop some dope,
Yeah.
see a dope man,
Yeah.
and there was some friction or something I didn't care for, I figured the best way for me to get even with him is keep my money out of his pocket.
Yeah, see?
And then go to another dope man and hopefully let him see me copping from somebody else.
Okay.
You
Now, a
know?
lot of times, Kenny, those houses are within eyesight of each other.
Oh, easy,
Right?
easy. I know of a 3-block radius where now this is a few years back. I don't know how it is now, but
Yeah.
I could go within
Oh, it's
a
the
3
same
block,
way now. You know it
a
is.
3-block radius. There was 10 or 12.
Yeah.
I don't care if it was 3 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon. There was somewhere I could go.
Now, Kenny, at the time when you were deep in drugs, did you realize you were participating in the hidden economy? Like you would withhold it from this guy,
Right,
right, to go to this guy,
right,
right?
exactly.
But you know, in business, that's like, you know, shopping vendors,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And you're trying to make the other vendor come down on his price, or you're trying to make the other vendor give you a
better
bit more
service.
product, right,
Right.
for the same amount of money.
Exactly.
Okay. And by the way, Kenny, we should tell our viewers today that it's been a long time. You've been clean and sober now for a long time,
Oh yeah.
right?
yeah.
You've been out of the
It's
life for
come-
how long now?
A little over 3 years.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
So it's important for our viewers to know, hey, Kenny's okay. He's you
Yeah.
actually can stand here and have this conversation because you're way past
Oh yeah. Yeah.
that. And the Kenny that I used to know that would be on missions back and forth, I haven't seen that Kenny for a long time.
No, sir. No.
Okay.
I have time to talk today.
Yeah. True enough,
Yeah,
man. You have time to
exactly.
talk.
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
Now, Kenny, there's a lot of stuff that runs inside of that hidden economy, right? Like small stores that are in impoverished neighborhoods.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Man, they're selling stuff that you and I know
Oh, yeah.
that aren't out
No,
on the counter.
no, behind the counter and below the counter. You're right.
Exactly.
Right.
Talk to, because today's show is about the hidden economy.
Okay.
Right? Talk to our viewers today about those hooters, you know, the things that you
Oh,
and I
yeah.
know that are running. What is that?
Well-
And then also about, you know, the things like single cigarettes and stuff like that, all that. So start with the drug paraphernalia. What is going on in some, now it should be say, not all these stores participate like
No,
this,
no,
right?
no.
But there are certain stores that you and I know about
Oh yeah.
that's selling things that the community would be surprised that they're selling.
Well, me being from the streets, and when I was out there, if I needed a new pipe, or we called them hooters,
Yeah.
we would say, I mean,
Now,
I knew where to go.
Now listen, talk to our
Audience?
viewers. Yeah. I mean, what's a pipe? Because they're
Well-
thinking, you know, grandpa with the pipe,
Well,
right?
it's-
But that's not what you're talking about.
No, it's a glass tube about maybe,
Yeah.
say 5 inches, 6
Right.
inches long.
Right? Straight
Uh,
pipe.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's glass, and it has a diameter maybe a half inch.
Well, now help our audience here. The glass pipe actually, you wouldn't know even if you saw it. They were selling anything illegal because tell everybody what's inside.
Oh, okay. Well,
'Cause
they
it's-
have a couple of different ways to
Yeah.
get around it legally. Well,
Right.
because it is illegal, it is paraphernalia.
Right.
They'll sell it as you can buy it, it has a flower in it.
Yeah.
Or you can, I've
It's
seen
like
it.
the glass pipe is on the stem.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's got a little flower in it, like say you would buy a
Yeah.
vase with flowers in it, but
Or-
it's only smaller.
Yeah, like if you wanted to buy mom a little gift,
Exactly.
or you wanted to get back in with your girlfriend.
Exactly.
Right? It'd be something like that.
Right. So to get around the part of it being illegal, I would just I go in and say, hey, can I get a flower? Or I've also seen them as fake ink pens. It's got the tip on it, but there's no
Okay.
ink in it. There's no ink in it. It's just got a pen running through it.
But so you go
uh,
to the guy and you say, I'd like a pen
a pen or a flower.
or a flower.
Right. Exactly.
And he's going to reach underneath the counter.
Right, but no,
Okay.
he's not going to set it on the counter. He's going to put it in a bag
Right.
under the counter and then put the bag on top.
Right.
People in line would never know what I'm buying.
Now listen, Kenny, I've actually tried this, right?
Okay.
So because I'm not a regular customer in the neighborhood, right?
Right.
Like I've actually gone to these small stores and I've
Exactly.
said, give me a flower. Hey, Kenny,
Well,
man,
they're
they
gonna-
stand there and stare at me, right? It doesn't have anything to do with my color. It just
No.
has everything to do with the fact that they haven't seen me in the neighborhood.
Exactly.
Right.
Now, if you came in a few times with me and I brought one or I
Right.
introduced you and they
Right.
seen us hanging
Right.
together, well, they figure you're doing what I'm doing.
Right. See, when
So-
I was growing up out in Lorain County, we call that vouching, right?
Basically,
So if I
right,
could vouch
yeah.
for you and they
Exactly.
saw me vouching for you, then
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. But they didn't know me, man. So they just stared at me like, you know, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I'm like,
Well,
you know, a flower. And
But
they're
can,
like,
you, but can
no.
you blame them?
No,
they don't know if you're a cop.
No,
they
man,
don't
no
know
at all,
who
man.
you
I
are,
kind of look like a
you
cop,
know?
so yeah, oh
And
yeah.
you're clean cut, yeah.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
but well, like you said, this conversation we're having, I mean, there's money flowing.
Yeah.
You know.
Tons of money are flowing.
Oh,
right?
easily.
It's
Yes,
just
sir.
flowing illegitimately, right?
Right.
And because it's flowing illegitimately, of course, it's not the kind of economy, Kenny, that's making the community better.
No.
Right?
No.
Because
No,
it's
no,
not
no.
it's not paying for anything.
No.
It's not
No.
it's not putting housing back into neighborhoods.
No.
It's hiring people, but hiring them illegally.
Exactly.
Right? So
Exactly.
that's that hidden economy. It's putting people to work. It is flowing money. It is buying, drug dealers' cars. So there's guys that sell rims and tires and everything else, right?
Everything's under the table.
Everything's under the table.
Exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay, man.
That it is.
Well, listen, many of our viewers would know that it's illegal to open a pack of cigarettes at a store and sell Kenny Presnell or Dan Rogers a single cigarette.
True.
Happens.
Definitely.
Talk about that.
Definitely. I mean, you go in and you take Newports.
Okay.
Right around $6.
All right.
Go to the store to buy a single to 50 cents. There's 20 cigarettes in a pack. So if
Do
they
the
sell,
math.
right, that's
Right.
$10.
Right.
So they're making more money than they are over the counter with a seal pack or the pack with the stamp of Ohio on it.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, because they know you don't have $6. They do know you may have 50 cents.
There you
right?
go.
So when people are out in the neighborhood and they're connecting to the hidden economy, Kenny, and one of the points of today's show is to help people understand that when people are standing on a corner, they're asking you for a quarter, Kenny Presnell.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
when they're asking
right.
you for a quarter, if they have 2 quarters, they can go get a cig, right? They can go get a Newport. They can go
Right.
get whatever's open behind the counter, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So folks even that are watching this today, we're trying to help them understand that they are participating in the hidden economy many times
Without knowing it.
without knowing it, of course, right?
Right.
Well, Dan, it was great to hear from you and Kenny in regards to the hidden economy and Kenny's experience involving it. So can you tell me a little bit about what you've experienced? I know, knowing your background and knowing that you grew up personally in poverty, what was your experience with the hidden economy?
Well, that small store that I grew up with in Lorain County, I grew up in a small community called Campedo, which is a small Puerto Rican community. And of course, our local stores were bodegas, so my family wasn't Puerto Rican, but because we were poor, that was the community my parents could afford. Growing up in poverty doesn't mean that, and poor doesn't mean my family wasn't hardworking. They were hardworking. And one of the great benefits, just as a side note, that I did have that most people in my neighborhood didn't have was my dad actually never left. So even though we were poor and impoverished, there was still some semblance of family structure. But I learned this early. I learned that the local bodega was the place of commerce. And in most cases, it was the place of commerce, the hidden economy. What we refer to, and you heard Kenny say it, it's being paid or paying under the table. And we know what that means. It means that we're not paying taxes on it. No one's, it's not showing up in any ledger, certainly not a legitimate ledger. And it's certainly not being reported up and down any kind of a payroll chain. But this economy does run inside of neighborhoods, and it's important for our viewers to understand what is the factory that is creating crime, creating incarceration, creating recidivism. And for our topic, Del Rey, what's creating and what's the factory creating homelessness?
Sure, absolutely. What have your personal experience? I know, I don't know if you've ever been in a personal situation where you've experienced or participated in the hidden economy. What was that for you?
Oh, in the 70s, it was selling drugs, of course. In the 70s, the primary drug of choice for everybody in the 70s in my neighborhood was weed, marijuana. Certainly, heroin was out there, LSD was out there because in the mid-70s, coming out of the 60s where more synthetic drugs were very prevalent. But really the drug of choice in the early to mid-70s, at least in my neighborhood, was weed. And so it was a commodity, so you could buy and sell. that commodity for a lot of things that didn't just have to do with cash, but had to do with maybe other products or other services.
Did you have experience in selling that too, as in your time in Elyria?
Oh, Lorraine.
Lorraine,
yeah,
sorry.
Sure. You know, there wasn't, very few of my friends weren't dealing somehow. I mean, did I have big kilos in my trunk? No. You know, did I even know anyone who had big kilos in their trunk? No. You know, was I a part of a drug cartel? No, thank God. None of those things are true, or none of the boys that I ran with in Campedo were that way as well. I mean, we had nickel bags and dime bags, and we traded them like we traded baseball cards.
And it's a quick way to make money, right?
Well, not just a quick way to make money, but a fantastic way to make money, because you know, I had a legitimate business as well. You know, at one time I had a paper route with like 250 customers, and you know, so being out in the community, having a big bag of newspapers, and having, you know, 1 or 2 grams of weed on me that I could distribute along the way, even if I was transporting it for a friend, you know, to get from this location to that location. Trust me, at an early age, yeah, I was participating as an early hidden economist.
Yeah, and how early was that for you? What age?
Oh, by the time I was 14,
Oh, wow.
no question. I was out in the community participating in, again, what everybody knows, but what is running. And again, let me just say, the reason why we're not making a fine enough point about it, and that's why we're doing it on today's show, is because of this whole idea that money will solve poverty. And the reality is, money does not solve poverty, or anything associated with money doesn't solve poverty. Poverty is an inside job. It has nothing to do with cash. I wish it did, but it doesn't.
Sure. And talking about, we heard Kenny talk about a lot of things, especially drugs and things like that. What are some other aspects of the hidden economy that are pretty prevalent?
Well, prostitution. You know, anyone who has been even around a documentary, Del Rey, knows that when in the 60s the phrase was coined, drugs, sex, and rock and roll, that wasn't a cutesy marketing thing to say. I mean, that's the culture. And certainly sexuality, whether it's homosexuality or heterosexuality or other forms of sexuality, are prevalent and has always been prevalent as a key portion of the hidden economy. And it is a commodity. Women and sexuality and men and young men are a commodity within the hidden economy. Certainly in our region, we are the 3rd in the nation around sex slaves and prostitution. Why? Well, mostly because of the crossroads, but why is it so prevalent within the culture that we're talking about? Because it is a commodity. It is purchased, it is sold, it is traded.
In my experience at Sparrow's Nest, I know I saw women who were addicted to drugs because of their prostitution too. So it was it was sad to see that the hidden economy impacted them in so many ways, not just one. It was just all around them. They didn't even have a grasp of our economy per se.
Certainly, and unfortunately, you know, Hollywood has glamorized prostitution. Now, Julia Roberts, you know, many years ago was Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman was a prostitute, and the glamorization of that, unfortunately, has become the calling card of how people understand prostitution nowadays. But, you know, you come down to the neighborhood that I live in and walk the streets that I live in, and certainly going back to when I was 14, I learned early on that this hidden economy was ugly, it was desperate, and it was violence, and it was gonna eat you up and kill you if it could, and in most cases would. I can't tell you all the friends that I lost by the time I was 17 years of age to wrapping their cars around telephone posts, to overdoses, to just losing their minds and committing suicide, all because they were both the product and the producer in the hidden economy.
How hard is it for someone to get out that's in that position?
Well, it's very difficult. If you would come down and talk to our guests right now at Cherry Street Mission Ministries, and you try to talk to someone who's used to making six figures a year, more than $100,000 a year in the hidden economy, and help them understand that that's a minimum wage is now God's order for their life, you're going to lose that argument. You've got to come at people that have experienced the hidden economy, been a beneficiary of, and a producer within the hidden economy, just like salespeople are in the legitimate economy. You've got to come at them completely different and help them understand a different value in life.
Yeah, I know that there's a guest at Cherry Street right now, Trevor, and we both know him. And he's had a lot of experience in the hidden economy, and he is one of those people that has gotten that job, but right now minimum wage is what he's making, but thank God for his dedication to the Lord. He knows that's what he needs to be doing and the right thing to be doing. So I think it's really hard for someone to know that, though, that to understand how wrong it can be and to change. I think that's really hard.
Well, it is. And for our viewers today, the way that they can begin to be involved in straight line solutions within their community is to understand that that economy, that illegitimate economy within our community, has to be reconciled with when we think about services. So whether we bring lunches or backpacks to communities, whether we, provide various home services, clean up alleys, repair roofs, all of these things are wonderful, wonderful things to do, and we should do them. There's no question about it. Unfortunately, what's going on within our community, particularly relative to church and government, in similarity, is we think that if we went into an impoverished neighborhood and fixed somebody's roof, it changes their lives. But in fact, it continues to overshadow and cover up the one thing that is real within that community, and that is your service that you're providing that community is standing on hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that flow illegitimately within the streets of that community.
How often do you think someone who is involved in just, the regular economy and living their everyday life actually gives and contributes to the hidden economy with maybe not even knowing it?
Well, when we participate in panhandling, when we give that quarter, when we let our hearts and not our minds dictate our services, then we are participating in the hidden economy. I want to be so careful here, Del Rey, because I love the way people love their community, and I would never say to somebody, don't do something. What I want to say to people is think. That's all. I'm not asking people to care. I'm asking people to care differently relative to what's going on within the community. We should be repairing roofs. We should be cleaning up alleys. We should be caring for single moms, and we should be doing all of these things. But we should be doing them with the reality that what we're doing is going to have limited success, but our success is really dependent not on what's going to come out of our pockets, not what's going to come out of the sweat of our brows. Success is human to human. And people connecting with that single mom, people connecting with that family, people connecting with that individual, and giving of themselves wholeheartedly, open heart, open hand, is what really solves the problems. What Trevor experienced was an open heart, open hand of people around him. He accepted it and he changed his life.
Sure, and I mean that would be possible without those people, our volunteers and donors and things like that.
No question. We would say to you today as you're watching this show, that if you've not been to Cherry Street Mission Ministries lately, can we encourage you to do so? It's so easy to get involved in your local homegrown mission field, Cherry Street Mission Ministries. Go to cherrystreetmission.org, click on that How Can I Get Involved or How Can I Help button, and watch how easy it is for you to cross certain thresholds where you can begin to, whether you begin to realize it, would you please? You can begin to participate in solving and bringing people out of this hidden economy. You can provide solutions that give people options and access to answers and problems that they've been facing their entire life. You heard the story of Trevor that Del Rey said a moment ago. He is a result of your generosity, of your kindness. We do need your participation at all levels of Cherry Street like we have never needed you ever before. We need you now. In your financial gift, in your prayer, and certainly in the gift of your heart as you volunteer your time, your energy, your family, and your resources to people who are in need in your community.
How can we do better? How can we improve as the church, as an individual? How can we improve and make this not so hidden?
Well, I think the day of making each other aware is over. You know, this whole age and season that we've been in as a community where we've been so focused on awareness campaigns and awareness conversations and awareness meetings and awareness conferences. I think that is really over. When I'm out in the community and I talk to people, whether donors or volunteers or prospective partners within Cherry Street Mission Ministries, you know what they're talking to me about? They're not talking to me about awareness, they're talking to me about engagement. They're talking about ways that they can have an action step relative to the solutions that they know are there but perhaps elusive. People want to be engaged, and as our viewers are watching today, please understand that our conversation every week isn't about bringing awareness to you. It's not about helping you be aware that solutions are possible, as much as this show is about engaging you about where you live, engaging you within your community, and taking the awareness that you have as a viewer and as a valuable member of our community and saying, I can make a difference and I'm going to make a difference. And there's no better way that you can make a difference than through the ministries of Cherry Street that our donors frankly have supported and kept open for nearly 7 decades.
How can we best engage this topic?
Well, first of all, can I just tell you before God tells you anything differently, keep your hands in your pockets, right? And if you believe as you're driving down the street and you see someone holding cardboard, or you're downtown and someone is asking you for a quarter, honestly, if you believe God is telling you to give them something, please do so. I would never want to talk you out of something God's telling you to do. But if you're reaching for a fix that you think is a solution, and it's not connected to an action step, or it's not connected to a way that you can relate to the person that you're giving the money to, can I encourage you to just stop, engage the person verbally, let them know that they matter, that everyone matters, that what you have in your heart and what you is far more important than what you have in your hand. And engage them in conversation, see how far it goes. And when that person walks away, continue on your way knowing that you participated in something legitimate instead of something illegitimate.
And conversation can sometimes be the best thing that we can offer someone.
Oftentimes, people haven't had a conversation.
Yeah. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.